Realtor Tiffany Logson here. Don't buy a home with an HOA.
Can you believe that we actually sold our house with a 4.5% interest rate and bought a house with a 7.5% interest rate? I can't believe it either, but here's what happened. We were looking for a new school district because our kids were not enjoying school. They weren't learning. The area was premier. It was ideal. It was centrally located. Location wise, we were close to all the shopping, all the restaurants. It was fantastic. So once we had an issue with the school, its grades, the report cards, the teachers, the staff, all that, we decided to look for alternatives. And initially we went to private school option, but it had a 2-year wait list. So we decided that wasn't for us. We decided to start looking and interviewing for schools kind of in the suburbs around our city. And after we interviewed several, we found one that was fantastic. It was perfect. The school had a very low teacher to student ratio, just ideal, very similar to private school. The community was fantastic. It was engaging. It was small. It was rural. It had great test scores. Overall, 10 out of 10. But here's the problem. Most people knew the school district was so fantastic that it was very hard to find a house in that location. So we ended up renting our first year to get into the school to try it out because more than 50% of the homes were selling off market to friends of friends that knew people that wanted to move into the community. We had to really get into the community before we could find something that was going to work for our family. We sold our house, we hoarded the money, rented for a year, and then as the rental lease was coming due, looked back at all the money that we had wasted over renting that year, and it was significant. It was over $25,000 that we had spent on rental, not equity, not money we would ever get back. Like if you own your own home and you go to sell it, usually you get all that money back in equity, minus the interest payments. But overall, it was time for us to keep looking. Perfect house came up in our same neighborhood. And even 2024, the market was competitive because of the area and the location of the school district. Whereas most houses were sitting on the market for 90 days, this particular home that we purchased was on the market for 3 days, had multiple offers, and went over asking. We had to do an escalation clause. They asked me to cut all of my commission as a realtor to buy this property. And of course, the house didn't appraise because it was way over asking. They wanted us to bring the difference in cash to closing in order to purchase this property. And if we did not, they said there was a list of people in line waiting to buy this house behind us, which we knew was very true. So we ended up doing it. Our interest rate on this particular property was 7.5%, which seems like a lot, but it was the right house, the right location, the right school for our family. So the interest rate doesn't matter because we know that in the future we're going to be able to refinance if we need to lower our monthly payment. Also, there's alternatives to doing a buy down to help lower your monthly payment for the first year or two. But we decided to not go that route. We put all of our cash towards the down payment and we moved on. Here is what we ended up buying. We ended up buying in an HOA. And let me tell you, there's some pluses and there's some minuses to living in an HOA. We had never lived in one before. So let me inform you about what you can expect if you're buying something in an HOA community. First, the HOA community has things like a swimming pool and a fishing pond. Those are added benefits. Also, our particular community is gated. So these are things that we pay for, but it helps increase and maintain the property values of everybody's house in the neighborhood because there are covenants and rules and regulations that everyone has to agree to and abide by. And if you don't, you can be fined by the HOA. Our HOA payment is about $600 a year, which is relatively affordable. We get the pool, we get the gate, we get the fishing pond. Now, the downside to this is HOAs can be strict. Ours in particular is pretty strict as far as some of the other ones I've heard. You cannot park your car in the street. You cannot leave your trash cans out more than 24 hours after pickup. Your trash cans are not supposed to be visible from the street. You're not allowed to make any changes to your house on the exterior without HOA consent. Everyone has to maintain their fencing, and the fencing needs to look in good condition. If there are panels falling down, if it's getting old and worn, the HOA is going to expect you to replace those sort of things. Also, our HOA recently came out with a new covenant that I was very saddened about because my sweet little children love the pond. They like to go to the pond, they like to fish at the pond, they like to get all the turtles and the frogs and the tadpoles and all those things with their hands. They like to catch them with little nets. And now the HOA said that if anyone is caught in the pond, there will be a huge fine and they will lose pool access for 30 days this summer. So that's a real bummer. And the pond and pool are both monitored by cameras so they can see horseplay. They can see if you're breaking the pool rules. The pool rules are very strict as well. No children under the age of 16 are allowed at the pool without an adult. You may not bring more than 2 guests per family. So, not per person, per family. So, you're really not allowed to invite people over to the swimming pool, even if no one's there. You can't really get permission to do like a pool party or a summer party or a birthday party or anything like that at the neighborhood pool. Unfortunately, that's not allowed in our particular neighborhood. Now, some of the other HOAs have really cool benefits, and they can be a lot more expensive than what ours is. Some of them have full-time security. Some of them have workout facilities in the neighborhood, which is pretty awesome, along with some clubhouses where you can rent that space out in the clubhouse and you can throw parties in those particular HOAs. There are splash pads, there's pickleball courts, there's basketball courts, there's soccer fields, there's walking trails, there's fishing pond with stocked fish. Some of the HOAs are pretty incredible with all the amenities that they have to offer. Ours doesn't have everything like that, but we are super happy with our purchase in our HOA, in our neighborhood, even with our high interest rates. And it's really been a great choice for our family because of the location, the school, the community. That's what we were buying for. And people I see every day, there are people buying and selling in these environments. And if you have any questions about buying in an HOA or you're interested in buying a house and you want to know more, I would love to be a resource for you. Please reach out to me, send me a comment, DM me, and I will see how I can help you with all your future home purchases.